Okay everybody, today I'm going to be going over my LUTs and briefly go over what each one of them are, um, to better help you understand like what they do and how they work. Okay, so the first one here is the um, Cool Fantasy Filter V-LOG Conversion Cool. So what this one does is it's going to give a more cool tone to your highlights, and the warm is going to give a warmer tone to your highlights. Now the difference is really subtle. Since I was trying to make it a log, I didn't want to overdo it. I didn't want to make so many changes that when you use it, you wouldn't be able to recognize all the colors in your scene. So you'll only really be able to notice it if you have a lot of warm tones in your video, or a lot of cool tones. So for an example, let's say you're outside and there's a lot of sunlight. If you convert it using the V-LOG Cool, then it's going to make the sunlight a little less yellow and whiten it up a bit. That's the difference. Whereas the warm is just going to keep it as is. So if there's a lot of sun, a lot of yellow in your scene, then that's what you'll get more of. But like I said, it's a very subtle difference, so you may not even notice it when you use them, but I just went ahead and made two different ones since when I was grading my footage, I wanted some of the tones to be lightly cooler than warm in some of my scenes. Alright, so these two, the cool and the warm, these are if you want to grade on your own. So if you want to grade the footage on your own, these are the two you're going to be using. All of the rest are my own personal grades that I use consistently, that I'll just put on my footage and be done with it. So with each of these, I'm going to go over them briefly, but it's kind of one of those things where I was, slightly editing each footage, and I said, you know what, I'm going to save this so I don't have to do it all again. And I decided to just throw them in the pack for you in case you need to use them as well. So first we have the Fantasy Filter Base, V-LOG Technicolor Base. This one really is like it's a grade, but it's not a heavy grade. In them, each one of the grades, I go in and I make the whites whiter and try and make the blacks as black as I can get them, and try and even out the scenes overall. So this one is just a really simple base. Not a lot has been done to it, so you can usually throw this on and most footage will look okay. You won't have to do too many tweaks to it. Now the base plus contrast is exactly what it says. It's the same thing, but I added a little contrast to it to make the scene pop a little more. Technicolor Mute, Cyan and Red. Really with this one, you won't notice it on all the footage. With this one, I kind of reduced the cyan and the reds of the video. So when you add it, it'll just tone it down slightly. Like each one of these are for the most part small adjustments. They're not anything major that would just completely throw off your footage. So with the Mute Cyan, all these are similar. It just means I've brung down those tones, whatever it may be, cyan, blue, and yellow. As you can see, when I put the yellow, it takes away all the yellow of the scene, so it makes it more blue. Now with the Pro Duos, they are more of a heavier grade, so they may not work with all the footage that you want to use them for, but it's the same thing. I put them in there. It's one of those things where I was editing a lot of footage and I made something. I said, okay, I'm just going to save this so I don't have to do it again. So you can just try them out, put them on and see what they do. So with all of these, they're very similar. They're more of a heavier grade, and some of them may work and some of them you may have to tweak a little bit. But like muted all tones, I just tone down the colors of each of them depending on the scene. you'll notice it. Some scenes you won't notice it as much, but that in a nutshell is all of the LUTs that are going to be in your pack. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.